Hey everyone, my name is Gunther and welcome back to the channel. Today we are checking out Planet Zoo, and in honor of their new pack that's launching just on April 4th, so 2 days away from recording of this, I figured we would play some Planet Zoo. It's been some time since I last played it, and we're going to dive in with a franchise, and we are going to attack this as we would a normal franchise trying to open up their first zoo. So without further ado, we'll dive in. I have already created our franchise. We've called it Conservation Canada in honor of the fact that I am Canadian. And our first zoo, named the Ottawa Zoo, will be located in the capital of Canada. So knowing that, we're looking right around there, and we're going to call this the Ottawa Zoo in honor of the fact that for some reason the capital of Canada does not have a real zoo. But let's dive right in. All right, we have arrived at our new plot of land where we will be building our first zoo. Now, this will be the first time I've ever done a game like this on the channel. In fact, I'm a huge fan of Planet Zoo. I'm a huge fan of zoos, in fact, and I'm quite excited by this. And a long time ago, I actually intended to work as a vet tech, and I had applied to work as a part of a summer internship at the Toronto Zoo. I unfortunately did not make it, which is a sad thought, but it was definitely something I was doing my best to run for. Now, we are going to start off with creating a general boardwalk entrance. And my thought is that when we're going to walk into a zoo, you want to be wowed by nature. We're not going to have the tools necessary to build said boardwalk, but we can plan it out right now. And we're going to start off by just extending our grid just a little bit, and then we're going to work it out, and we're going to create a nice path. We're going to go a 2-lane path all the way up, and it's just going to be the start of our path. Now, I like them. I like the tile. I like the mosaic tile, but I don't know if I want to keep it. We might change around with it. I might play with it. We could go tried and true asphalt, but I just feel like asphalt is just it's not pleasing. This seems very pleasing to me, although it might be a little too much as we go further and further out. But we would have this amazing, gorgeous plaza that we would just walk in, see some exciting, nature. We'll have very man-made. My hope is that we'll have a very man-made entrance. We'll have like a little bit of a sign, announcing that we're, welcome to the Ottawa Zoo, what have you. We'll fill this up with trees, and that's about it. That's going to be our entrance. We're not there yet. We're not ready to build it just yet, but we can plan it out like I mentioned, and then we'll go from there. Now, as we walk in, and I'm trying to think of what we would normally see at a zoo, we're going to walk in and we'll see a few exhibits, and I think that in honor of the fact that we are working in a franchise, we have a very limited budget. In fact, we've already blown $400 on this pathway that we've built out. We're gonna have to make do with some very engineered exhibits. And what I mean by that is we are gonna build out a very rectangular exhibit, and I think that that's the only way we can kind of make this work. We're gonna encompass the corners quite. We're gonna try to encompass the corners. It's not gonna work as intended, but we'll make it work. Seeing as this is the first time I've done an episode like this, my hope is that we're gonna incorporate some time skips. And this will just make sure that we you guys get to enjoy the build process without having to feel that it's just me droning on a regular on a regular basis, but we'll see how that works. So we're going to build our first exhibit like so. It's going to be a smaller animal, so nothing too fancy. We really ideally want to have something that can we can incorporate into the existing infrastructure that we're building. In fact, now that I've said that, I'm pretty sure we built it outside of the. Oh no, barely. We're barely in. We're just making it. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if we were going to be outside of that existing power path. Now, funny enough, with a normal zoo, we would more inclined to see. We would be a lot more inclined to see exhibit facilities attached to each exhibit. And what we mean by that is there'd be like a section right here that would kind of be where the keeper's hut would go in. And I'm going to try to incorporate that in some form or manner. We'll have our keeper hut set up right here so they can kind of service the exhibit a little bit more easily. It's not you would never have like a keeper hut found all the way across the way. It would be kind of built into it. So we're going to have our first exhibit like so. We're actually going to mirror the exhibit on the other side, and we're going to utilize our space in an effective manner. But this will probably be, as with any normal first zoo, it would be very engineered along this style. And the idea behind it is that they just don't have the resources necessary to, go ham with building a regular normal exhibit. So this is how I would envision, our first exhibit would work out. Everything looks a little nice. We just have to move everything a little bit. Let's see if we can just move it over just a tad. And that looks good. In fact, we should actually probably do the same thing with this as well. Now we've essentially pigeonholed ourselves into making sure that we have to, our first animals have to be quite small. And, that's, again, it would be very on theme, on point with having a zoo with very minimal attractions initially. They wouldn't have the funding necessary to support large animals such as like tigers and whatnot. But we would be able to work with existing smaller animals. And being Canada, I think our first our flagship animals would probably be Canadian or North American as well, not necessarily Canadian. I think it just fits with the theme, and we also take into consideration that our zoo is going to deal with weather phenomena, things like that. So we have our first set of exhibits. Now they're a little too tall. Most of the time, these types of exhibits they would be actually a lot lower. And on that note, we're gonna drop it down to 1 meter. I think that's going to make the most sense, and then we can kind of work our way up. And this way we have a nice thoroughway where pedestrians, as they walk through, they'll be able to see these amazing creatures. And we're going to try to build it up so that they can work out. From here, I don't know what we're going to do. We might encompass a little bit of the natural topography over here. We might build up and then have something that can kind of look down. I think that would be really cool. Or we can build kind of like a sky tower and have like a fire watch tower built up so that they can go and view the entire park as it expands out. I can't see us using all of this space. I will be honest; it is quite a large. It's quite large, but we'll make work. We'll make do with that. Now we have to figure out what animals we want to pick up first. We have quite a few, but before we even do any of that, we actually have to set up our zoo facilities. Now, I'm thinking of the Toronto Zoo, and something that I've always been inspired by is when you would come into a zoo, you would see, you could go to their vet areas. You can actually see into the vet area, which I've always found super exciting. The concept of being able to observe as they work on animals, and it's always been a really cool feature. And then it speaks so well to the education aspect of zoos. Zoos are not just meant for enjoyment; it's meant to educate the population. And my hope is eventually we will get to the point where we can actually build up something like that. But initially, we're not there yet. What we do need to do is we need to set up our core zoo buildings. So that being our trade center, we're going to need our keeper's hut as well. It's going to be a given. So we'll go ahead and there we go. So I forgot how to rotate buildings for a second. So we're going to have our keeper hut, our animal trade center. We will need a quarantine set up as well. And then we should get a staff room. We'll need to take care of our staff as much as possible. And I think really the only other things that we're going to get up just initially is going to be the research center and the workshop, because we're building. You have to keep in mind that we're building up from the scratch. We're building up from scratch, so we have to make everything work as much as possible. We'll have to fit everything in, so that's going to be what it's going to look like for now. It's a little ugly, but we're gonna revisit this eventually. We'll come back to it. It is far enough away that I think that they're not going to be too bothered by it. So let's hope for the best. Now, as with a normal zoo, I think once we open up and we've established our first zoo, we're not going to pause the game anymore. This will be the only time you'll see this game paused. And the idea behind it is that, most zoos, they wouldn't have the luxury of having something that could pause and work around. So we're going to try to approach this as we would if we were working with an actual new franchise zoo. My hope is, maybe depending on how this goes, we'll have multiple series where we'll see and develop, and we can see how we can develop from a franchise that's just getting off to its feet versus a franchise who's established, opening up a brand new exhibit or brand new zoo in another locale. So I'm really excited to see how that turns out. That being said, we do need to figure out what kind of animals we want to pick up first. We have quite a few. We could go Arctic fox. They don't require a whole lot of space. The only downside is they're expensive, and it's very hard to find particular Arctic foxes that fit the need. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at the Zoopedia. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to dictate we want something that's going to live in temperate, because that's going to get us the area that we need. You can see American alligator, not really an iconic animal that we would want to have as like one of our first zoo animals. We could go something like a cougar. That would be kind of cool. It doesn't require a lot of space. It does require a significantly higher fence, 10 feet. I don't know if we want to go that route. I also don't think we would be equipped to service a cougar right off the bat. A Eurasian lynx, but that's more Europe, and I don't know if that's going to be the best idea. Black bear, but that's going to be focused in just off the coast of Japan. Jaipana, that's going to be in Asia. Wow, what could we do? We could do a grizzly bear. It's going to take up a lot of space, 750 square meters, and I don't know how big are existing 704 square meters. Not quite enough to get where we wanted to go with those. So let's keep on looking. Would love to have some Indian rhinoceroses at one point within this zoo. I think that would be really cool. We'll have our own little Asia section. I think that we would be able to kind of really experience that. But I'm thinking, we're probably going to go, now that I said it, we're probably going to go Arctic foxes first. Arctic foxes are they're so damn adorable. I've had the pleasure of seeing Arctic foxes up close. They are the most adorable species I've ever seen. We can only trade for cash, so we need to keep that in mind. We don't have the option for conservation credits just yet. We don't have enough. We do want to get our hands started, so we're going to go ahead with one female and one male. And I think once we have, hang on. We have three. Do we have three? Why do we have three males? Oh no, we have one female. We still need to buy the male. Okay, there we go. So you can actually, funny enough, with the Arctic fox, you can actually have multiple males. They're gonna naturally form their own hierarchy. So we'll go ahead. We're gonna send them over to the quarantine initially. We do need to unpause the game to get it to register. Nope, it's not going to like it. You know why? We don't even have any staff. I guess we will need to get our staff up and running. One caretaker, one keeper, one mechanic. Can't have our walls falling down. And one veterinarian. It's going to yell. The game's going to yell at us because we don't have a veterinarian section just yet. But that's okay. We can make it. We're gonna make do. We just don't have the money to support that. Why is this not? Why is it saying that there's no path? Oh, you can take it to the... Okay, weird. Why are they doing that? There we go. Okay, cool. So we're set up. And I think when we're going to come in, we're going to have this set up as our Arctic fox exhibit. So this we're going to go into a little bit of a time lapse where you can see as I build out. It's not going to be the greatest. I will warn you, not the best at this, but this is all in an effort to learn and to improve and to be better. So let's dive in and start building out this exhibit. All right, so we've built our first exhibit. It's not a whole lot. It looks a little dank right now, and part of the reason why is we haven't turned on the coal yet, so it's going to turn all the snow shortly. We've built a nice little hutch. I'm not too happy with this, but I think I'll play around with this a little bit more, maybe a little bit off camera, but we'll see what that looks like. We've added a little bit of tree foliage, things like that. The idea behind it is a lot of the we'd see a lot of brush grow up against the rocks, where a lot of the water would naturally pool, so it would show up there. The other thing is, and we're going to turn this in, we just don't have we don't have the resources necessary. We're going to turn this into water. I'm very curious to see what it would look like. I feel like not that they would use it, but they would have like a little bit of natural water near where they would kind of create their den. So I think that will work out really well. Next thing we need to do is we just need to make sure that we have the tools necessary to make sure that we're educating the population about the Arctic foxes and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our first little info graphic right here. It's going to let us know. So as we walk up, we're going to see that it's the Arctic foxes. And we can start to look. We're either going to naturally gravitate right here or naturally gravitate right here. So this is going to perfect place for us to put it. And on top of that, we're going to set up a little info station. So it's going to, tell people about a little bit about the Arctic fox. So we've set that up. We're also going to need to set up our donation boxes. We are going to be heavily reliant on donations in this particular area. And we're really going to have, as I see it, 2 areas that we're really going to focus on. So that's where we're at. So we have the water, and then I just want to make sure. So everything's going to be pretty far away, so they're not going to really be noticed by it. So I think we're in a good spot to start off with. Now, our second habitat, interestingly enough, we need to figure out what we're going to do for our second habitat. So we're going to go ahead, and I forgot that I was looking at just a few animals. We're going to switch this over to North America. There we go. We've set it up, and we can see what we want to put here. I'm thinking, not that we have the tools, I would love to have some a raccoon, nature's bandit, would be very interesting, but I would love to have some North American beavers. The only downside is it requires quite a bit of water, and we don't have enough space for it right there. So beaver is not going to be an ideal exhibit there. But what else could we maybe put there? We could do diamondback terrapins, but they're in an exhibit, so that doesn't really make sense. We could do a Colombian white-faced capuchin monkey. That's I guess you could say that that's in North America. I guess a little bit of an overshot, but okay. We could do a black-tailed prairie dog, very iconic animal found in Canada, grassland or deserts. We would focus more on the grassland. It needs to be 3.96 feet high, so I think that's close to 1 meter, if I'm not mistaken. 1 meter is like, I don't know, 2-ish feet. I'm not very good on the conversions for that perspective, but I think that would be good. We could do our grizzly bear, which again, we don't have enough space for it, so it's not ideal. And I want to kind of keep an animal that we can keep oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? The exhibit wall is pretty low, so I think we'll have to work with that. I would love to have a moose, but we can't fit a moose in there. It's not going to work. It's not enough space in between everything that we need. We could do a raccoon, though. It'd be kind of interesting to come to Canada to see a raccoon in an exhibit. I think that sets it. We are going to do the black-tailed prairie dog. So the only thing that's going to hold us back is if we do not have access to a black-tailed prairie dog. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can find any black-tailed prairie dogs. We do need some more females, so we will pick up another female as well, and we are going to send them over to quarantine just so we can get them set up. So we'll have 2 females, 2 males, and that should help to start off our conservation program for the Arctic fox. So now we're going to look at the black-tailed prairie dog. All right, we actually have quite a few available. They're all male. It's not ideal. So we will go ahead and adopt 2 of them. If I'm not mistaken, they run in a fairly large pack. Let's see here. 2 to 12, 1 male, 11 females. So we can only have 1 male. And I think I just got 2. So that's not going to be good. We could go with a male bachelor group and just have 2 all the time, but that's not ideal. Coincidentally, we can actually we can put them up with some striped skunks. I don't know if that would be something I would want to go to a zoo to see. It is going to be quite large, and if I'm not mistaken, the black-tailed prairie dog lives in. So we're going to cheat on this one. We're not going to have to do a whole lot from a exhibit perspective, because if I'm not mistaken, they actually use the burrows. Fantastic. So even better. So now we just have to set this up. So we know that it's going to be set more focused on grasslands. We're going to keep our grass nice and short initially. And let's go ahead and take a look at our nature. All right, so I think that's going to be a good start. We have a nice little brick area where they can kind of sun themselves on. We have our feeding area right in front of our viewing area, and kind of give them, whether or not they actually use this, I don't know, but it's like kind of steps for them to run up. Otherwise, they can kind of go up the other side. It's kind of cool to see them hop up there, though. It's a little bit of enrichment. You know, they have to work a little bit for their food, keeps them engaged, things like that. We've sprinkled the area with some foliage, and maybe not the greatest job, but I think that that's a good start for us. So next thing we have to do, of course, we just need to make sure we have our habitat section set up. And same idea, we are going to go ahead with another education point. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to put one education point here as well, and we're going to put one over here. So this should stop them from overlapping. We want to avoid that. And we will set up our donation bins as well. And that's about it. Next thing, just before we open up, what we do want to do is we want to get some benches set up. So, as our visitors come to view us, we want them to be able to kind of sit down and take a breather. So I think that's going to be a good use. And if we can get it set up where we have a nice little open area for them, they'll be able to kind of view this. Now, this I think is a prime starting area. What we'll do is we'll kind of build off a better section over here, more so for all of our building. All of our vet buildings, but I think this is going to be the start that we want. So we'll go ahead and unpause the game, and we are now live. Our zoo is actually open. We just don't have any animals just yet. We are currently waiting for them to all head over to the quarantine zone. We want to make sure we're checking them out, especially because we are purchasing them for money. And, in all honesty, we're probably picking them up via the use of animal rehabilitation perspectives. It's not quite large enough. I thought that would have been a little bit larger, so we may need to just slightly adjust this. We may need to set up two. So what we'll do is we'll do one right here, and then we're just going to move this over. It's weirdly enough, it's going to be on top of the rocks. But I think that's good. I think they're both set to this minus 11 is what we're looking for. Nice and chilly for our new animals. And there we go. We got a nice little white snowy background. Quite happy. Now, just now that I'm seeing this, it obviously wouldn't be very snowy in here. It would actually be very dirty. So let's go ahead and just clean that up just a tad. I think that's pretty good, and we are all set. Now, the other thing we have to do, and I haven't played the game, but we can set up, we can kind of view. So what we want to do is we want to set up a video that can connect to the exhibit. It's not an education board, is it? It's something like that. Hang on, is it an education board? No. Forget what we do. I forget what this connects to. I'll have to figure this out. We'll have to come back to that. I'll have to take a look. I have to take a look into that. But I think it's enough time for our animals to be in a good position. So let's go ahead and I feel like we're missing some animals here. We have a bunch of Arctic foxes, but that's about it. So we're going to go ahead and move them over to their new exhibit. I'm sure they'll be quite happy about that. And then while they're doing that, let's try to figure out, there's our black-tailed. So admittedly, we are going to keep one of them. We are going to send both over to quarantine. Goodness. We need to pick up some females though. So let's go ahead and we'll buy the first, probably the first 3 that we see here. Oh, gotta give it time to reload. Now, the $1 million question is, are they happy? Let's find out. They look pretty happy. I think they're quite happy with our environment. They have good enough coverage, more than enough plants. The only thing holding them back right now is our enrichment. So while we're doing that, let's start on that. We need to start researching. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to toggle Angie over here to take care of Arctic Fox number 1. We may need to eventually pick up a second vet so that we can kind of keep that ball rolling. Now, when you come into a zoo, what's the first thing you think of when you come to a zoo? You're going to think of, you need an info booth. So we are going to set up our first info booth. It's going to be just a slap job for now. It's a little nicer. It's gonna get them what they need. Where, ideally you would come in. This is where you would get your map of the zoo, things like that. If we had like a Zoomobile as an example, this is where they would come, and we would kind of set that all up. So we would want this naturally at the front entrance. So this is going to be what it's going to look like for now. We'll rip down everything eventually and rebuild. But it looks like our zoo is off to a bumping start. Very happy with how everything's working. Now, over at our quarantine center, why are they? It's because we're stuck. We were busy moving everybody over. Now, I'm pretty sure. Oh, look at that! They're all. It's been a tough time for them. They're all down here hanging out. I'm pretty sure they can't get out on this side. But what we're gonna do, just out of an abundance of caution, because obviously we would never want to have, your exhibits, kind of stressing out. They get access. So we're gonna go ahead and raise the back just a little bit for them. So we're all set. We also need to set up this. This is going to be our Arctic Fox, and we are also going to set this up to be an Arctic Fox exhibit as well. And same thing. And there we go. It is our Arctic Fox exhibit. We are bumping. Almost 300 people have come to visit us, all due to these Arctic foxes, which is absolutely fantastic. Looking at our animals, why can't I? Kind of weird. We have quite a few in quarantine. Zoo, that's why. I was looking in the wrong area. It looks like they've all finished their quarantine. Now, the thing is, we can't bring out both males. That's how we have not a fun experience. So we'll go ahead, bring them over here, see how this works. Now, ideally, in a normal zoo, this path would actually be hidden behind, so they wouldn't even be coming down the main area. They'd actually be coming up this way. So we just have to keep that in mind. And people think our zoo is underpriced. Well, we can't have that. Let's go ahead. We're going to double the price to $6 for adults, and we'll keep it at $3 for a child. Children are half price. I think that's a very fair assessment. We are. It's quite busy. This is a very busy walkway. I don't know if that's the best option, but we'll see how that works out. Looking over at our black-tailed prairie dogs, they are quite happy, missing some social aspects, but otherwise very, very happy about this. There we go. They're starting to beef up a little bit. We just need to make sure that we get some research going. We can also set this up as well. So we'll go black-tailed prairie dog. There we go. We are set. Our zoo is now open. So knowing this, we have built our first initial section. And I think next, what is the most iconic animal you can think of when it comes to Canada? As a Canadian, there's quite a few that come to mind. We could think of a moose, we could think of caribou, but for me, it's the Arctic wolf. And I think we really want to build out and flesh out an Arctic my goodness, an Arctic wolf exhibit. And how we're going to do that, we're going to continue our main artery. So this is going to be the main artery for the zoo. This is going to come up. We're going to have a little bit of, we kind of want to keep it little interesting. We might have some natural topography that would work into this, maybe build in a little bit of a river, so we can kind of have like a river that kind of encompasses it, makes it feel like maybe it's on an island. Or we can actually incorporate, have a zoomobile. I was talking about that a little bit earlier. We could have a path, a zoomobile that goes under and around. They kind of take you back into some hidden exhibits that you maybe wouldn't have access to on a normal basis. But this is going to be where we're going to set up our Arctic wolf exhibit. And how we're going to set up an Arctic wolf exhibit, we want to naturally use our terrain to our advantage. And how we would normally see an Arctic wolf exhibit in a normal zoo, they would actually be it would be significantly lower. It would have they would be actually like kind of like this. We had nice big area for them to run and play around with. They're not gonna, pedestrians, our visitors can view them from the roof, from the top, and then they can kind of just look down. So I think this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set this up like so. There we go. Okay. We got our first path set up. We're moving in the right direction. And then we'll curve it over just a little bit, go like this. And then we will go back. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Like so. There we go. We have built our main thoroughway. We have a lot of open space. So other things that we would utilize with the open space over here would be like a a food court or an additional kind of like a work area. This would be where I would think we would put our vet center so that as people come by, they could actually stop and take a look as veterinarians work with their animals and try to help with their health benefits, things like that. We've achieved an education rating of 4% or higher, so we'll claim it. We'll go ahead and take that small surge of income. Are they being fed? That's a concern. Hang on. Let's double check that they're being fed. They have not been fed anytime recently. Uses in the last 12 months, 0. Keeper assigned. Let's see. Keeper urgently assigned. Let's see if he actually goes and feeds. This may not work. We may have to readjust this. Okay, I think we'll have to rebuild this. All right, let's they do need to get fed, so let's go ahead and fix this. There we go. That should work a little bit better. That was not a good idea. Has no security guard, so I guess we do need to hire our first security guard. There we go. Everything is set in motion. We'll come back. I think on our next episode, we're going to take care of the wolf exhibit. I think this is going to be kind of like our initial flagship exhibit. I'm a little concerned it's a little too far away, but we're going to have to live with the decision. Maybe we can actually have an offshoot so where we can kind of run off to the side a little bit, build another mini exhibit over here, things like that. But I think we are moving in the right direction. We are in the green. We have over 350 visitors on a regular basis, and we're sitting at 1 star, minimum 1 star, and it looks like they're finally being fed. This who is this keeper? Christopher is working his leg muscles today, getting over here. So let's see. There we go. He has provided the food for the black-tailed prairie dog. Now the next question is, where are they? They're probably, let's take a look. They are all under here. I also want to figure out how we can kind of I would like to put a video here showing their underground. I think that would be something that's a requirement. Otherwise, we're doing quite well. In fact, now that we've actually built up a little bit from an experience perspective when it comes to Arctic foxes, let's go ahead and see if we have any enrichment items for them. We do. We have a sprinkler. Everybody loves a sprinkler. I have a dog who does not like water, to be entirely honest with you. So not everybody likes a sprinkler, but we'll go ahead and set up our first enrichment item where they can kind of go and play with the water. Seems kind of weird that you're going to have water in the middle of a kind of like a frozen tundra, but hey, I'm not complaining. And oh, look, our black-tailed prairie dogs are out. Topsana. Who else do we have in here? We have Anepe. And I saw another one run over here. We have Nizhoni. It's the meal that's the issue. Social stressed and trying to hide. Oh no. That was that is the one downside of having exhibits set up like this, is they don't really have anywhere to hide. So knowing that, maybe what we need to do is we need to build kind of like a little. Oh, that's a really big rock. That's also a really big. Hang on, there we go. Maybe we need to kind of build like a little. Hang on a minute. If I build this and there's a dog in the way, it's not going to work out really well. So let's go ahead and set up like a stone right there. Give them another stone, so something like they can kind of hide on. There, it's something that they can climb up. They can also kind of hide out over here. Maybe we'll set up some bushes to act as a natural screening for them. Get a little bit of a fig tree going. It's a really large fig tree. There we go. A little bit of an extra hiding spot for them. So I think we are in a good position. We are consistently raising our attendance rate. We've actually built quite a budget, quite a surplus, and we've successfully survived over 2 years, which is a fantastic and good news story. And our Arctic foxes, I'm waiting for them to start to kind of mate and for them to reproduce. That's awkward. They were about to mate, but there was quite a few there. All right, everybody. I think we're going to end the episode right here. The Ottawa Zoo is slowly taking shape. Like I said, I think we're going to start off with our wolf exhibit next. I think wolves are iconic to Canada. We would need to have them in here, so we're going to have a nice little exhibit for them to run around in. And you know what? We can view down. I think they're going to be less stressed like this. We'll just need to set up some natural areas for them to play. Otherwise, I do want to just say thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking it out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of animals you would love to see in our first Ottawa Zoo. And as always, feel free to subscribe, but you don't have to. It's always nice if you do. Otherwise, ciao for now, everybody.